In this video, I'd like to show you how to achieve this cut and fold image without doing any kind of cutting. For this project, what I'm going to do first is fold all of my pages in the book as a 180. Normally you have the instructions where you fold 20 pages and then mark them and cut them. For this one, we're going to fold all of them as a 180. And for that, I'm using my 180 marker, and it's super easy to do the whole book really fast. I just mark about 10 pages and then fold all of them. And for this, I'm using this kind of score. It's a very fine tip, so it's going to be more accurate than this that I've used in some of my other videos. And then once I have it marked, it's just easy to fold, and I do use just the side of this score to give it a good crease. And I fold a whole bunch of them and then just tuck them under. And as you can see, the creases are super sharp on this. So fold this entire book, and then we'll resume with the next part of the project. Book is all folded, so everything is 180 at this point, and it's nice and even. And at this point, I want to decide how open I want the book. I don't want it too squished, and then I don't want it too fanned out. I'll put something heavy on each side just to hold it at the same opening this whole time. And I'll take a ruler and measure. So I'll think about 5 inches distance this way is what I'll do, and then the height of the book is 8 inches. What I did was I went to Cricut Design Space, and using my Cricut, I cut out a design for what I'll put on here on the front of it. Instead of doing all the cutting and then using cardstock or using markers to create the image, I'm doing it a shortcut way for this. This is just another option. Doesn't mean that from now on you're going to be doing all your books this way, but this is just another way for you to do a design on the front of the book without all the cutting and folding. You're just gonna fold the 180. And I went to Cricut Design Space and found this image. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's a baby elephant. Might be a little too reflective there, but I've got a little baby elephant and then 3 hearts. And what I need to do is I'll remove the elephant, and then I'm using the vinyl as a stencil on here. And you can save the elephant and put it just on a piece of cardstock. You can use it as a design in another project. Okay, so there's the elephant. So he goes off to the side. I'm just gonna pick this up and I'm gonna transfer it onto the front of the book. Compact paper, and this goes on here. And then I'll just use a bone folder to make sure that especially the little pieces get transferred. Now I have the elephant. I'll get this back in play now. So I have the elephant and can decide where to place it on the book. I'm gonna leave a little room at the bottom so that I can do a bow. And I want to make sure that everything is stuck down as much as possible so that as I paint it, it's not going to flow underneath. Take the transfer paper off. Once you have this off, I press it again, especially around the edges of the image, to make sure as much as possible that this is sealed right at the edge. And this whole time I'm keeping the book open at the same opening. I will cut this into pieces to cover this area because I don't want to get paint on the lower portion of the book. So I'll put this down here, just masking it up. One piece at the top. And here I'm doing it pretty close to the edge because the heart is right there, so I don't want to cover that up. And then the 2 sides. Okay, now this is all prepped and ready to go. Then we're ready to do the painting on it. For this, I'm using just a paint. It says wood, metal, plastic. It works fine on this paper. I'm gonna color this area. And then I give it a second. Even matches my fingernails. So I'll give it a second for this outer area to dry, just to make sure that I don't drip on that part. And there's no paint on here, so I can remove this. So these 3 hearts can go. And I do want to cover this area at this point because I don't want to get red on the trunk. So I'll use some masking tape in this area just to make sure that that's covered. And same brand, just in red. So I'll take this part off. And you can remove the rest of it off. And there you have the design. So this will take off. Just make sure you don't drop it back on the book. And there you have the design. One thing to keep in mind with this kind of painting, it doesn't really work with designs that have very fine details, because some of the paint will bleed underneath, because it's just impossible to attach the vinyl to make sure that it doesn't. As you can see in this area, some of the paint, it just goes right underneath a little bit, just as the page absorbs it. So it works best with images that are more solid block kind of silhouettes. I do have a link in the description for this image in Cricut Design Space if you're trying to do the same thing, but really, you know, anything that's more silhouette will work. And I also have the link in the description box for the 180 marker if you're interested in that. If you end up doing this kind of cut and fold without cutting, please join my Facebook group and post your picture there. And there you have your book with a cut and fold, but minus the cut. So it has the look of a cut and fold with the 180, but there is no cutting involved at all. And I wrapped this book. I do have a tutorial on how to wrap a book really quick. That's linked right at the top there. If you have any questions, please comment below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next project.